Morning. Let's make coffee in the morning. The slow living video last time actually had a good reception. I mean, I'm a small YouTuber, it's a small channel, but I really appreciate people leaving comments and being able to just click it and show some interest. I saw some likes also. So it gave me a signal to do another video. And I actually want to talk about a certain part of slow living that addresses the performance mindset that we mostly have. And so I want to talk about those things while we're having coffee. So recently I've been reflecting on why I have been more relaxed, and at work it's not eating me up. Like after I work, I still get to spend time with my children. I'm still mostly grounded, mostly present, and I've been like reflecting about it, about how I came to that point. If there was one thing that's very noticeable about where slow living brought me in terms of my posture towards daily life, it's really that slower and quiet living has allowed me to live outside of the performance mindset. I work so differently. I think a lot of you can relate. Like when you're given a specific task, like I embrace it fully. The number one strength I have in Clifton's Strengths Finder, if you're familiar with it, is responsibility. And so whenever I'm given a responsibility, I like, it's just automatic in me to take it into heart and to really pour in everything I can. But one of the things as I look back, I realize is that this actually made me live. Like, okay, my life is gonna be about pouring everything for this certain responsibility. And even if I'm mindful about other parts of my life, my health, my family especially, my children especially, it's just that because I was so poured in to my responsibility in all other things, a lot of times I remember I see myself as very tired, or just, running out of patience a lot of times with my children. And I look back, I realize, yeah, it wasn't really because I was impatient towards my children. It was an effect of how I was drained from my sense of responsibility, doing a lot of things in the past at work. I realized that performance mindset has a lot to do with it. Of course, I think a lot of people can relate that when you have the performance mindset, you're actually prone to anxiety. And of course, anxiety varies its manifestation per person. And for sure, you can notice that whenever you are given a responsibility and you can't like perfectly do it, you either get paralyzed or you overperform. Like you pour in everything, and even your energy is poured in towards stress management. So it's really difficult. It's a challenging situation to be in. If you've been doing it for many years, it's actually tiring and exhausting to a point. So it's something that we have to be mindful of. We have to be careful with, especially with ourselves. Because the effect of that is not just towards ourselves, but it's towards other people also. Like especially the people we love so much, the ones who are intimately positioned around us. So my wife, my children. Did I put coffee already? Did I put coffee already? Not sure, but let's see. Okay, I did already. So let's put this back. Oh, I use an espresso, and we bought this capsule last weekend with my wife. There. It's coconut flavor. It's a flavor that's actually just for iced coffee, and we have the milk tea flavored or brown sugar milk tea flavored milk, which I just added here. So this is how my coffee looks like today. There. So there are downsides of performance mindset, and that's, of course, as I've mentioned, stress and anxiety. You can easily just give in to that, or you're not even aware that you're getting anxious or getting stressed a lot because you have a performance mindset. And performance mindset often emphasizes constant achievement and competition. That's why a lot of times it actually leads to stress and anxiety. Of course, we're not ignorant to the fact that a lot of the recent employees, when they're put in a high stress environment, there's so much anxiety, there's so much stress, because our culture is really mostly about results. And there's nothing wrong with, going for results. There's really nothing wrong with that. We need results. But to be aware, to be self-aware about this certain mindset would be helpful, because then you would be able to assess and evaluate how your life has been or is or will be. You don't want to give in to so much stress and anxiety also. And of course, escaping as well is not always the route, but to be self-aware about these things allows us to actually live a better life. In so doing, you're able to understand, okay, what are the things that I need to do to keep myself at check and to keep myself in good state. Like, even if I'm still in this environment, what if I'm really surrounded with a high performing environment, then what should I do? So awareness actually leads us to having action steps so that we can take care of ourselves better. As a result, we'll also be able to deliver what we need to deliver in our work, in our school, in our family. So yeah, when there's high level of performance mindset, there's also a high level of perfectionism, and it's really striving for perfection in a lot of ways, or in all ways actually, and it can actually lead to fear of failure. And this is where individuals are overly critical of themselves. Now, when the focus is on performance, a lot of times people usually start becoming avoidant to risks, and so it actually hampers or hinders innovation, and so people become less creative because of the fear to fail and the fear to take risks. I remember the research of Carol Dweck's on mindset, and she talks about a performance-oriented approach that fosters a fixed mindset where individuals believe their abilities are static, which contrasts with a growth mindset which encourages continuous learning and resilience. So for example, in schools, the emphasis on grades and performance can actually lead to surface learning, she says, where the focus is on memorization a lot of times rather than deep understanding and critical thinking. See, performance mindset is also a matter of not just within you, but at the same time around you. Like your workplace, your school, your home, or maybe your group of friends. Each of these settings actually has a subculture. So the other question is, while you may want to avoid giving into performance mindset a lot of times, is your environment actually designed to make you live a performance mindset free culture? And I'm not saying that we should be free from performance mindset. It's just that, is there a healthy culture from where you are at? So people who are not yet as healthy as they should be, or for people like me probably who may have had to be aware first of my performance mindset, so that whenever I'm exposed to that kind of culture, I'm more aware. I'm more aware of what I have to avoid. I'm more aware of what I have to prevent myself from doing. But at the same time, I also came to a point where I realized, maybe I should really just change environment. And if you have the luxury to change environment, you can. But if you don't have the luxury to change environment, then you can take action steps for yourself to keep yourself at check and healthy while you're in a very high performing environment. And again, there's nothing wrong with a high performing environment. It's when there are mixed signals.
It's funny how I just prompted it in ChatGPT. I said there's not necessarily wrong with high performance environments in the workplace, except if there's usually mixed signals. And I said, can you explain mixed signals? And that was the explanation of ChatGPT. And the reason why I had to do that is because I was editing the video, and it turns out that the right after mixed signals segment, the whole audio is gone. So I kept talking without an audio. And I want to say I totally agree with everything that ChatGPT actually said. It's the exact thing that I had in mind, and hopefully this is something that if leaders get to read, we'd be able to learn from it. But at the same time, for you who's planning to reassess and reevaluate where you're at right now, how you've been, and you might be thinking, oh yeah, I think I need some quiet moments in my life, like a retreat or something. And this is something that you might need, but my hope is that you will be able to find your next steps. Progress an inch every now and then. That's enough to tell yourself you're still doing good. As we end, I just want to remember for myself as a believer that rest is always a part of the theology of work that God has for us. And so, slow living and quieter life and introspecting, reflecting, it's something that God intends for us to have. I think that the more I rest and the more I live in a much slower pace, the more I get to be aware of things that are happening around me, and the more I get to be present. I think that even the idea of being able to engage with the concept of my own pitfalls in giving in to a performance mindset is really an effect of being able to take time to reflect and being able to take time to actually seek wisdom and allow God to actually search me within me. For you who's actually still hoping for that slower living and still hoping for a much quieter, less anxious life, I'd just remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that your life has meaning and it has purpose. So while you're stuck in a very busy cycle and you feel like there's always the need to perform, you go back to a time and space of silence and just you sitting with yourself and realize that you were created with value. You were created in the image of God. And that alone speaks so much value already for you and the value of your life. I hope that these videos have been meaningful for all of us, and I hope that you can like and share and of course subscribe. And whenever there's a new video, hopefully it works out for you and it helps you. Of course, after this video, YouTube will suggest something that they think is best for you.